It's a very recent question that has been asked, and we can also expect some similar kind of questions in the future, not maybe exactly the same, but some kind of altercation. And but plus you can also see how will we attempt agree and disagree questions, that mean your opinion essays. So this category of essay is an opinion essay. So the question says, in some countries, celebrities complain about the way media publicizes their private lives. Some people say that they should accept it as a part of their fame. Do you agree or disagree? So see, this is the question that makes it clear which type of question essay is this. So this essay is an opinion-based essay because the essay is asking you what is your side of the opinion. Do you agree with this statement or do you disagree with this statement? So the question says, let's deconstruct this question step by step. So as we always say, there are 3 steps that we're going to follow in our IELTS Writing Task 2 question. Step 1, understand the given statement. I keep telling my students again and again, you are supposed to read the question statement at least 5 times before you start attempting the question, because it is important for you to grasp what is the question is asking of you, what is the opinion that you are supposed to form, what kind of instruction is given, and what are the sides that are provided before you even start writing. Because once you start writing, it will be not easy for you to go and, edit the entire or revise the entire essay if you have something that comes up that strikes your mind later on in the process. So that is why always make sure that you understand the given statement thoroughly. So let's deconstruct the statement. So we're saying in some countries, celebrities complain about the way media publicizes their private lives. So we're talking about the private lives of celebrities that is being publicized or published by media without their consent, and then celebrities have complained about this. Now, some people think that they should accept it as part of their fame. So now some people have an opinion that this is a natural tendency, or this is a consequence of their fame, or this is something that they have to accept given their fame as a celebrity. Now you are supposed to tell us that, do you think the same? Do you think actors should accept it as their part of their fame, or do you disagree with this statement and think there should be media should not violate their privacy, even though if they're celebrities? Whatever your opinion is, it could either be 100% agreement or 100% disagreement or a partial agreement. What do I mean by a partial agreement? That means 70%, okay, I agree with this because they are celebrities. People want to know what is going on there in private lives, but they should also have some say in it. So I'm partially agreeing, but I'm also 30% disagreeing with the statement. Or I can partially disagree with this statement. That means that I disagree with the statement, but I also agree with 30% part of it. It can't be 50% agreement, 50% disagreement. You can't say, yes, they should accept it, but they should not accept it also as well, because that does not give us any concise or any conclusion of the statement. See, when you're supposed to bring your opinion, and especially if you're talking about partial agreement or disagreement, make sure it is 70% on one side and 30% on the other side. Now, step 2, understand the instruction. So what is the instruction that is given to us? Do we agree or disagree? So that means that we are supposed to firmly present our opinion. That means you have to clearly tell the examiner that I completely agree with this statement, I completely disagree, or I partially disagree. Whatever your opinion is, make sure it is clear and well explained to the examiner, so that by the end of the essay, examiner is not asking themselves, okay, what was their opinion again? Do they agree or do they disagree? They should not ever question you. By the end of your essay, it should be very, very clear to the examiner on which side your opinion is aligned. Now, the structure of this opinion essay. So there are 3 ways you can write this essay, which we'll be discussing in the next slide, according to your opinion, if it is agreement, disagreement, or partial. Then step 3 is to generate content. So once you have decided your opinion, if you're agreeing, then you'll be moving on to the step 3, that is generating content. So when I say generating content, that means you'll be briefly writing down the points that you're going to discuss in this essay. So if it is 100% agreement or disagreement, you're at least supposed to discuss 2 points on each side, on either side. But if it is a partial agreement or disagreement, then we have to balance it out by discussing two body paragraphs for one side and one body paragraph for the other side. This is how you're supposed to generate your points on either side. Now, before we dive into the structure of this essay, few key reminders for for our IELTS Writing Task 2 exams are, we are supposed to write at least 250 words. Now, what do I mean by at least 250 words? That means minimum amount is 250 words. You have to write 250 words. You cannot write less than 250 words. And you can go up to 280 to 290 words. Do not write 300 or more words, because when it becomes wordy, it is also not very preferable for the examiner to go through these heaps of text. Make sure that your essay is clear, concise, and has minimum of 250 words. The other important thing that we have to notice, we are given 1 hour for our writing task. That includes two tasks for you. There is task 1, which is a report writing, and there is task 2, as we are going to talk about the essay writing. Now, since task 1 has only 150 words to be written in it, we kind of do the split. We split the time as 20 and 40 minutes. So we dedicate 20 minutes for task 1 and 40 minutes for task 2 in an ideal situation. But then again, it depends completely on your speed and your preference. But the ideal time division could be 20 minutes for task 1 and 40 minutes for task 2. And you can preferably start with task 2 so that you have enough time to sum it up, and then you can sum up your task 1. Whichever you prefer is completely fine, but this is the general preference of the students that I'm telling you. All right. Moving ahead. All right. So let's talk about the structure of this essay. So as I said, there could be agreement, disagreement, or partial. Now, if you are completely agreeing with this statement, there will be 2 body paragraphs. That means 2 body paragraphs of agreement or 2 body paragraphs of disagreement, one side. But for a partial agreement, the first body paragraph would be to support your partial agreement, and second and third body paragraphs to support your viewpoint, which is different from the partial agreement. That means that if, let's say, if you partially agree with this statement, then you will start with your partial agreement. Why do you think that this is okay? And then you will move on to your opinion, which says that, no, this is not fine. It is not acceptable. And then you will write those points in your second and third body paragraphs. So these are the body paragraphs, or the structure of body paragraphs according to your opinion. Remember this, it is very important for you to follow these. Now, the overall structure becomes, so in this particular sample essay, we are going to 100% disagree with this statement. So let's see what will be the structure of the essay. So we're going to structure it like, we'll start with introduction. That means your introduction, which is supposed to be from 40 to 60 words. Then we'll have body paragraph 1. Then we have body paragraph 2. And then we'll move on to conclusion. So this is going to be the structure that we are going to follow in this essay. But if you have a partial disagreement, then you will add a body paragraph 3, in which body paragraph 1 will be your partial agreement, and body paragraph 2 and 3 will be your viewpoint. So that's great. Let's move forward to the sample that we have written here for you, starting with the introduction. So before I dive into the sample introduction that we have written here for you, let us briefly discuss the structure of the introduction. So the introduction is supposed to start with a paraphrase statement. What do I mean by paraphrase statement? A paraphrase statement means whatever the question is given to you, you paraphrase it in your own words. Make sure that you do not repeat whatever is given to you in the question as it is. You're supposed to change the words, use synonyms. You can also use active voice and passive voice changes. You can also change the structure of the sentence that is given to you. Let's say if it is a complex sentence, you can make a compound sentence or a compound complex sentence, and you can use these ways to paraphrase your question. Second is the points that we're going to discuss. So points means whatever you're going to talk about in this essay, that if you agree, what are the reasons you agree? Reason number 1, reason number 2. If you disagree, what are the reasons you disagree? Reason number 1 and reason number 2. Last but not the least, thesis statement. Now, this is very important, and I keep emphasizing it again and again throughout all my sessions that thesis statement is the answer to the question that has been asked to you. So what is the question asked here? So the question asked here is, do you agree or disagree? So how will I firmly answer this? I will say that in my opinion, I firmly believe, or I firmly contend to this statement, or I firmly disagree or agree. In a very clear and concise manner, I'm going to tell the examiner in the introduction only, what are you going to get or what can you expect in this essay. Let's start with this essay and see how we have written this. So in numerous nations, so instead of writing some countries, numerous nations, that is just using synonyms to change or paraphrase the question statement. Celebrities express grievances about media's invasion of their personal lives. So see how we have paraphrase statement. We have used different words, we have used synonyms, and we have changed some of the part of speech structures so that we can paraphrase the statement. Instead of using complain, we have said express grievances, and media's invasion instead of media publicizing, and personal lives instead of private lives. So make sure that your question statement is not the same as your opening statement. Next, while some argue that they should consider this intrusion as an inherent aspect of their fame, I firmly disagree. So see, we have talked about that some people think that this is the inherent aspect of fame, but I firmly disagree with this viewpoint. Why? Because celebrities, like anyone else, deserve their privacy and the media should respect their boundaries. So why do I disagree? Because I think that celebrities deserve their privacy. Why? How? I will discuss that in body paragraphs. But here I'm just giving an idea to the examiner that I'm going to talk about the privacy of celebrities and the about respecting their boundaries. So what I'm going to talk about, what are the examples that I'm going to discuss, all of that will be discussed in our body. So let's move ahead to our body paragraph 1. Body paragraph 1. To begin with. So before I dive into this body paragraph, few things to note here. To begin with is a linker that I've used to start my body paragraph 1. You can use these linkers like to begin with, for instance, moreover, furthermore. These linkers improve the coherence and cohesion of your essays, giving you a seamless transition between the paragraphs. So let's see the structure of a body paragraph. A body paragraph which should consist of a topic sentence. A topic sentence is a sentence that gives a clear idea of what this body paragraph holds. Like, what are you going to talk about in this particular body paragraph? A supporting statement. Now, as the name states, so when you open the body paragraph with the topic sentence, you're also supposed to support it with your explanation. So that is where supporting statement comes into play. And an example, very important for you to present your point in a full-fledged manner. You're also supposed to present an example in your essay. So let's start with this essay. We start with to begin with. It is important to remember that celebrities are human beings too. I'm saying that celebrities are also human beings. Their fame does not mean they forfeit their basic human rights, including the right to privacy. So I'm saying that celebrities, by the virtue of being humans as well, do possess the right to privacy. That means which is a basic human right. Then we have given an example. For instance, the incessant scrutiny by the media, which often includes invasive paparazzi photographs and intrusive interviews, can be emotionally distressing and detrimental for their mental well-being. So we're talking about how these paparazzi photographs or intrusive interviews are a violation of their privacy, not only violating their basic human right, but also affecting their mental well-being. And in the last, we have chosen to write a linking statement to conclude the body paragraph, which is an optional statement. You can choose to write this or not, but it is completely up to you. No one should have to endure such a relentless invasion of their personal space simply because they are famous. I'm saying, wrapping it up, that no one should be subjected to such kind of violation, even if they are famous. It is not justified. So this is how we have write a body paragraph. We have given a topic sentence, we have supported it with our supporting statement, and we have given an example. And in the last, we've also given a concluding statement to wrap the entire body paragraph. Let's move on. All right. So body paragraph 2. So we have started it with furthermore. So we are saying, furthermore, respecting the privacy of celebrity encourages a culture of respect for personal boundaries. So I've started with this furthermore. Furthermore is again a linker for the seamless transition between the two sentences. Respecting the privacy of celebrities encourage a culture of respect and personal boundaries. So remember, we talked about personal boundaries in the introduction. So that means this is where we're going to talk about, explain and elaborate on personal boundaries. So personal boundaries, this is your topic sentence. We're explaining it with a supporting statement. When media outlets prioritize responsible journalism over sensationalism, it sets a valuable example for the public. So I'm saying that when media goes out there and prioritizes journalism, that means in giving information instead of just creating that sensationalism, that kind of drama to it, it sets a valuable example for them. To illustrate this further, we are further explaining this statement. Consider the case of numerous celebrities who have been hounded by the media to the point of emotional breakdowns and even tragic consequences. So we're going to talk about that, how in certain cases this complete incessant violation has led to emotional breakdowns and tragic consequences for a lot of celebrities. For instance, now here comes the example to support our entire argument. The tragic examples of Princess Diana and Britney Spears highlight the harmful consequences of relentless media intrusion into their private lives of celebrities. So whatever example you can think of in some for your point, it could be any name that you remember from your knowledge. You can include it in your example and make it personalized according to you. To see, let's see if 3 parts that we discuss in body paragraphs are covered in our essay. Part 1 was topic sentence. We do have a topic sentence. Part 2 was a supporting statement. Yes, we have a supporting statement and an example. So we have also included a specific example. So these are the 3 important parts for us to form a body paragraph. And these 3 are completely satisfied in this body paragraph. That makes it a good body paragraph. We've also used linkers like furthermore to illustrate this further, and for instance, for the coherence and cohesion of our essays. And we have also made sure that we are going to we're relating the body paragraph to the introduction as well. So that enhances the overall cohesion of your essays. Last but not the least is the conclusion. Now, students have a lot of issues while writing the conclusion because they'll always be like, they understand the body paragraph structure, they understand the introduction structure, but for conclusion, there is essentially no structure. There are few points to keep in mind, but there is no structure that you have to follow in conclusion. But having said that, conclusion is the easiest of all. Why is that? Let's see. So what are the things that we have to remember in conclusion, first of all? In conclusion, always remember no new points. So what do I mean by no new points? That means no new points, no new ideas or concepts are to be added in your conclusion. That means you cannot suddenly talk about some other aspect of, journalism that you have not talked about before, or intrusion into their private lives, something that is not talked about throughout the essay. You cannot introduce it in your conclusion. Next, your conclusion is supposed to be the paraphrased version of your thesis statement. So whatever your thesis statement was, you can simply paraphrase it to write your conclusion. And while you are doing this, make sure that your conclusion should not be again as it is as your introduction. You should change the words, you should change the sentence structures and paraphrase it properly so that it doesn't look a repetition of what you have already written. So let's see, the conclusion says, in conclusion, celebrities should not be expected to accept media's invasion of their private lives as an unavoidable consequence of their fame. So I'm starting with in conclusion, which is again a linker to cohesively stitch your conclusion with your essay. And we have started with the topic sentence, very basic opening statement, where we have paraphrased all these words that we have used earlier so that it doesn't look copy-pasted. They are entitled to their privacy and society should respect their boundaries. You see, these are the two things that we have talked about throughout the essays, the privacy of these celebrities and respecting their boundaries. Encouraging responsible journalism and empathetic behavior towards celebrities can contribute to a more compassionate and respectful society overall. So in our last body paragraph, we also emphasized on how journalism should be responsible and empathetic behavior should be exercised towards celebrities as well, because they are also humans. This is how you can write your conclusion. So see, everything that is in there in this conclusion, nothing new is there. All of this has been discussed earlier, but it has been paraphrased and we have made sure that none of these words seem repeated or there is no repetition in our conclusion. All right. So that is how you write your conclusion. Moving on, this is the final essay that you can see here. Now, before we move ahead, few things that I want to emphasize here also. Now that we are familiar with the structure, that's introduction, body paragraph 1, body paragraph 2, body paragraph 3. Let's focus on some other aspects of your IELTS writing essay. So as I talk about coherence and cohesion, you can see the linkers that we have used here. For example, to begin with, for instance, furthermore, to illustrate this further, for instance, in conclusion. So these are all the linkers that you can use. There are other multiple linkers, for example, on one hand, on the other side, moreover, furthermore, however, for contrast, meanwhile. So these are all the linkers that you can add to your essay for a more cohesive alignment of the body paragraphs within themselves. Apart from this, for your grammatical range and accuracy, of course, you have to make sure that all of your grammatical structures are correct. You use the correct subject-verb agreement, your tenses are correct, but you also have to make sure that you use a range of sentences. So it is very important for you to use multiple sentence structures in your essays. That means you should use complex sentences, you should use compound sentences. So see, just like in this essay, the very first sentence is a complex sentence. In numerous nations, is a dependent clause. Dependent clause is something that is not complete within itself. So numerous nations has an incomplete meaning. Then I add, celebrities express grievances about media's invasion of their personal lives, which is a independent clause. So when we join an independent clause with a dependent clause, we form a complex sentence. Then, while some argue that they should consider this intrusion as an inherent aspect of their fame, comma, I firmly disagree with this. This is again another complex sentence that we have used here. So this is how you can use multiple complex sentences and multiple other structures in your essays to give the examiner an idea of how you overall have a grasp over the language. So there are other structures also. For example, they are entitled to their privacy, and then you have used and to join another sentence. Society should respect their boundaries. So when we join two independent clauses, because both of these clauses make sense independently, when we join them using conjunction, that becomes a compound sentence. So this is a compound sentence that we have used here. So this is the way you can incorporate different structures of essays, of sentences in your essay. Apart from this, see, throughout the entire essay, we have made sure that we do not repeat the words that we have already used in the essay. We have to make sure that you use a wide range of vocabulary, but when you're using a wide range of vocabulary, remember that the words that you're using, they're not so fancy and they're not so inappropriately used. You have to always make sure that if you're using a word in your essay, make sure that you know the correct meaning and the correct usage of that word, that what collocation it is to be used with, what kind of word, what kind of preposition it comes after, or it is followed by this word. Everything should be clear to you while you're using that word, because if you use a word without knowing its appropriate usage, that can also negatively impact your essay. So look at this final structure of this essay. You start with introduction, paraphrase the statement, give your points, give a thesis statement, body paragraph, topic sentence, your supporting statement, and an example, and then conclusion, which is the paraphrase statement of your thesis statement, and you include all the points that you have talked about and no new ideas to be included. So plan your essay well. Make sure that you dedicate 5 minutes before writing down your essay to generate your points, to vividly think of the structure and generate the uh, content that you're going to write about. Because once you've started, as I previously mentioned, you won't be able to go back and revise your essay again and again. Apart from this, make sure that your punctuation is on point, your subject-verb agreement is on point, and you're using a range of multiple tenses as well as sentences, while also using linkers for the overall cohesive and cohesion of your essays. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for joining. For more such interactive IELTS session and content, please follow us on LinkedIn and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You have the links presented here. And if you have any other doubts or you want to access the resources, we have a huge multi-load of resources that we keep posting, and we keep discussing the samples for the latest essays that come out. So you can visit our website, www.yunolearning.com, to have the access to that, or you can give us a call at this number. Thank you so much for joining. Do not forget to subscribe so that you can keep updated on the new webinars and masterclasses that we keep bringing for you. Thank you so much.